We pull the threads from the sources you share, aiming to give you the fastest route to understanding.
And today we're doing something a little, well, different.
Yeah, definitely unusual. We're digging into a fictional narrative, this story circulating about John Cena. It's called Cena's Surprise Wedding Rescue.
Right. So, important point for everyone listening. This isn't about a real event that happened.
No, not at all. We're analyzing the story itself, the anatomy, you could say, of how a perfect public perception moment gets constructed around this idea of a quiet, selfless act.
It's fascinating, really, because the material treats this fictional thing almost like a character study. So our mission for you today is to kind of dissect this specific narrative
Okay.
and pull out insights into, what happens when a huge public figure tries to go completely off the grid and then stumbles right back into the spotlight because of some genuine small-scale crisis. We're basically studying the mechanics of, well, spontaneous heroism in narrative form.
Exactly. So the setup is a celebrity trying to disappear on this fictional vacation, right? And he runs straight into a disaster that needs immediate, like, non-celebrity style intervention.
Yeah.
It's framed as the ultimate test, when all the usual handlers and PR stuff are gone, what's actually left?
What does the person do?
Right. So let's jump straight to that crisis point. The sources really emphasize the emotional stakes here.
Oh, absolutely.
This wasn't just a small problem. Cena supposedly stumbles upon this young couple whose wedding venue canceled, like with basically zero notice.
Wow. Yeah, imagine that.
Their big moment, everything they planned and paid for, just falling apart right in front of them.
And think about that level of just immediate devastation. A canceled venue isn't just inconvenient scheduling.
No way.
It's often a huge financial hit, massive emotional loss, and usually happens like hours before the ceremony is supposed to start.
Cold nightmare.
So that immediate high-stakes emergency, that's the narrative trigger. It needed more than just cash. It needed a logistical miracle, like right now.
And that's where the whole off-the-grid vacation context becomes so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do the sources keep hammering that point, him trying to be private?
Well, because that detail basically protects the act from cynicism,
Ah, okay. How so?
If he did this rescue, say, during a TV special or some pre-announced public event.
People just say it's PR.
Exactly.
Oh.
Performance, PR strategy, whatever. But by setting it up that he was actively trying to disappear, the story suggests the act was totally spontaneous, unforced, driven by, like, real empathy.
Gotcha.
It's a narrative device to make the gesture feel authentic, which makes the heroism part feel way more powerful to the reader.
So it lays the emotional groundwork. A failure of privacy leads to this big success in spontaneous goodness.
Pretty much.
Okay, but let's get into the actual pivot. So the venue's gone. Couple's heartbroken. How does anyone, famous or not, fix a disaster like that so fast? The sources say he used his charm and resources.
Yeah, that phrase.
What does that actually mean in practice?
That's really the core thing to unpack, I think. When you take away the usual team, the resources aren't just like a blank check.
Right.
It's influence, it's access, it's being able to make decisions quickly, and charm in that kind of high-stress moment.
Yeah.
That's the ability to walk into total chaos and, like, immediately build trust. Calm people down, the couple, vendors, whoever, and convince people, local officials, maybe businesses, to help out probably outside their normal hours or procedures.
And hang on, let's be realistic for a second. You can't just charm a baker into whipping up 100 cupcakes in an hour because you're famous, can you?
Well, maybe not charm alone.
Isn't resources really just a nice way of saying he could pay whatever it took right then and there? Use his wealth to cut through red tape.
That's a fair point, and money definitely helps, no doubt. But the source material seems to focus less on the cost and more on the speed.
Speed of execution.
Yeah. It suggests Cena wasn't just, throwing cash around, but using the confidence and the network that comes with fame. He basically fast-tracked every logistical step. Imagine trying to find a photographer last minute, or getting an efficient, coordinating food.
Nightmare.
Right. It takes rapid negotiation, establishing credibility instantly. His celebrity status in this story acts like a super efficient bypass for all that usual hassle.
Okay, so his personal charisma wasn't just about smiling for cameras. It was a practical tool for quick negotiation under pressure.
Seems to be the idea.
And the result of all this frantic logistical work was orchestrating a pop-up ceremony.
Precisely. And that shows the efficiency of influence, right? A pop-up implies it was fast, decisive.
Not about finding a new luxury venue.
No, exactly. It was about finding a functional space, somewhere they could use now. It shows that rapid application of influence focused just on solving the main problem. Get these people married today.
And the specific place they found,
Mm.
that detail, really grounds the whole story, makes it feel relatable.
Tell
We're not
me.
talking about some private jet hangar or a yacht.
Mhm.
The ceremony was held at a local community center.
And that detail is so powerful, isn't it? Because it shifts the whole focus.
How so?
It just strips away all the usual glamour you'd associate with a celebrity stepping in.
Right?
It sends a clear message. The point wasn't the big show. The point was the marriage.
Okay, yeah.
It emphasizes being resourceful, accessible, even humble, rather than just throwing money around lavishly. It makes the heroism feel achievable almost, real, even though, again, the story's fictional. It's like the narrative is saying, look, he didn't need superpowers. He just needed to be a decent person who could act fast.
That simplicity. I think that's key to why a story like this would resonate.
Definitely. And if we connect this whole fictional event to the bigger picture, the story becomes more than just saving one wedding.
How do you mean?
It feels like it exists mainly to reinforce and validate Cena's existing public image, his reputation.
Okay.
The fictional story holds up a mirror to something the public kind of already believes about him.
That's the real insight here, isn't it?
Mm.
And probably explains why this story got created or shared. This specific selfless act, even fictional,
Mm-hmm.
it locks into his established knack for quiet, selfless acts. It's not presented as just some random fictional thing. It's a fictional example of a real pattern people trust.
And this is where the source material makes that link explicit. It's crucial.
Okay.
The narrative directly states that this act mirrored his Make-A-Wish legacy. That's the absolute key nugget for understanding this.
Right. Make-A-Wish is huge for him, obviously.
Exactly. So the story isn't just inventing heroism out of thin air. It's sort of retrofitting it onto a known, genuine legacy of generosity, often private generosity. By tying the fictional rescue to the real-world Make-A-Wish stuff, the story makes his persona seem, well, like, less about fame or transactions, more authentic.
It's like a character study where the fiction confirms the reality people want to believe in.
Yeah, something like that. It reinforces the established persona.
It's almost like the public needs these kinds of stories, even fictional ones, to feel reassured that the good deeds we see are real, that the person behind the image is genuinely good.
Could be. It satisfies that desire for genuine heroes.
And the whole tone, like you said, avoids any big media splash. It was defined by being quiet and selfless, which contrasts sharply with how huge his fame actually is.
And that contrast is absolutely essential for the story to work.
Why essential?
Because the paradox of this massive celebrity doing something deeply personal and low-key, it's just inherently interesting.
Yeah, it grabs you.
It challenges the assumption that everything famous people do is for show. The story's success hinges entirely on the idea that he was trying to disappear. That makes the act seem pure, and the fact we found out about it feels almost accidental.
Okay, so let's recap the journey for the listener. We went from this awful last-minute cancellation
Total crisis.
to a successful, really resourceful pop-up wedding in a community center, no less. All driven by this spontaneous use of influence, not by making a big spectacle.
Right.
That pivot itself is kind of like a masterclass in using resources smartly.
And I think that pivot offers a pretty deep takeaway about influence in general, actually. Whether you're famous or just, leading a team or helping a friend,
What's the takeaway?
that the most meaningful actions often need that mix of, quick empathy, strategic use of access those resources, whatever they are for you, and being willing right away to pivot to the simplest, most functional solution.
Like the community center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Functional solutions often take more creativity than just expensive ones.
That's a great point. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, and maybe something for you, the listener, to think about after this deep dive.
Okay.
If a quiet, selfless act is done while someone is genuinely trying to be off the grid, does that intention for privacy fundamentally change once the positive impact, inevitably gets out?
Good question.
Does that spontaneous act, once it becomes known, turn the failure of privacy into like a new kind of public responsibility?
Yeah. Does the story only work because it leaked?
Right. Think about what it really means to be available to help,
Yeah.
even when you're actively trying to disappear from everyone.
It definitely raises a profound question, because the whole narrative kind of relies on the public finding out about it eventually, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
The public value of that spontaneous gesture, It only really lands after the celebrity fails to stay hidden. It sort of suggests that, even in fiction, maybe heroism needs witnesses to fully count.
Interesting thought to end on. Absolutely. Okay, thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
See you next time.
I'll catch you next time.